I sat down at this piano and I played this. Hi, I'm Sombr, and I'm going to take you behind the song Back to Friends. The song is about the struggle of having someone that you were, intimate with, them being able to kind of move on with life and be in the same rooms as you as if nothing ever happened, and how, for me, I can't really just act like that. I can't just move on. And I think it's a universal topic, but I think with the chorus, I found a unique way of saying it. So the first song I made that got me discovered was called Caroline. I made it back home in high school at my parents' house in my bedroom, and it was like one of my earlier songs I made on Logic. I wrote it and produced it myself. I posted it on the internet one night. It was like TikTok was very new, but it went viral overnight. I went to bed. Like, I'm just a normal high school kid fucking off, skateboarding. And I wake up the next day, it's viral. Literally the next day, every record label is in my inbox. Months prior to that, I would be making songs and emailing different independent record labels, like just sending files, and none of them responded. I told my dad and he was like, I don't believe you. And it was real. I got flown out to LA and I signed my first record deal and all. Then for the next 2.5 years, I was just grinding. I had a small, consistent audience, but nothing was, doing enough to recoup a record deal or make this career long term. So I kind of needed this, and I'm really grateful that it happened when it happened. Usually when someone writes a song, they'll go in with a melodic idea, like chords on a guitar, or they'll come up with a vocal melody. But when I start with a drum groove, I can set a vibe rather than set a chord progression or something. And the drum groove will always make me feel a certain way, and it helps me improvise more. So I started with this drum groove. It's programmed on Addictive Drums, which is a plugin that I love and I've been using for a long time. So I had this drum groove, and I was just playing it on loop. And then I just heard piano bass notes. So this Yamaha upright right here, I just walked over to the piano, and I played this. I just heard the that you hear in the intro. I always will kind of set an environment by layering ahs or oohs over an instrumental before I lay down the lead vocals. So from there we had this. So this was next, and this really did it for me. Here, I'll show you layer by layer. Hearing one of them alone sounds so shit. I put so little effort into the vocal performance on these, but then when they're all together, they sound so great. I just slap a little reverb on it, call it a day. And then from there, I picked up my Gibson Les Paul. I tried a bunch of things on the guitar and it wasn't working. So now I was like, what if I just played one chord over this whole verse, and literally one chord on repeat, and that was this. I mean, how genius is that? But then when you bring it all together, you have a vibe. Now listen to this. Something about everything else moving in the chord progression, but then the guitar staying the same, was really good. So from there, the verse 1 lead vocal came in, and that's actually, I recorded this in order, so I did the verse and then the chorus, and I was writing as I was going, so started as mumbling, so we took out the piano bass notes, and then it was just the guitar, the bass, and the drums for the verse 1. Here's that soloed.
Touch my body tender.
You can like literally hear me hitting the space bar in the delay. I kept that in.
'Cause the feeling makes me weak.
You can hear I always tap my feet to the tempo when I'm recording. It's just the imperfections, which I think make the vocal even more raw. So what I put on this vocal was distortion, and reverb, and compression, stock EQ. I like to put distortion on my verse vocal, and then when my chorus vocal comes in, have it be a whole chorus of non-distorted vocals. And I think it's like yin and yang in a way. Like the verse is like one voice, and I think that the effect that the distortion gives is kind of like, I want it to sound so emotional, but the distortion is kind of like the vocals trying to cut through and escape almost, because the non-distorted vocal just doesn't give me that. I don't know how to further explain it, but it just feels right to me. So that's what I do for a lot of my verses. But then sometimes I think it could be like even more emotional just to have a vocal be raw. I actually wonder what this vocal sounds like raw.
Touch my body tender. 'Cause the feeling
There's no
makes
soundproofing
me
in this room.
weak.
I love when my vocals just have the sound of the room. I hate soundproofing. So yeah, we're on the verse, and then here comes the chorus. I find when I have an element that is active in the intro that I take out for the verse and then bring it back into the chorus, you have a huge lift, and it's like you've heard it before, but you didn't hear it in the previous section, so you're kind of missing it. So it's when the chorus came, it was important to have a huge rise. So you'll notice I took out the ahs and I took out the piano bass notes, and then when the chorus hits, you get slapped with that again within the new chorus vocal, which is kind of programmed differently. There's like 6 vocals for the lead vocal in the chorus. It just created this beautiful lift. Here, let me show you these.
How can we go back to
So there's 3 of these.
when we just shared a bed?
None of them are pan, they're all in the center, which I really like to do. And then,
How can we go back to being friends when we just shared a bed?
such a good fucking melody. And then here are those ahs that we heard earlier.
How can we go back to being friends when we just shared a bed? How can we go back to being friends when we just shared a bed? How can we go back to being friends when we just shared?
So, verse 2, we bring in a live drum kit. Let's play that.
You landed on my chest.
And then it's stacked with the drum loop that I programmed that you hear in the first verse. What I love to do is, for the first verse and chorus, do a programmed drum loop that is not a real drum kit, which will usually be on addictive drums. I don't want to go back down for verse 2, so my song keeps going somewhere. I'll bring in a live drum kit for verse 2 and the rest of the song. It makes the second verse feel like a new idea, which is great. And then we also brought in more guitars. And you'll see my swelling guitar is out now. I love taking shit out and bringing it back. Now it's back. The explosion. One of the most viral parts of the song is at the end of verse 2, how the verse lifts into the chorus. So
I was scared to take a breath, didn't want you to move your head. How can we go back to
I just want to show that solo because that's everyone's favorite part. The minute I write the first sentence, the rest of the song will come to me. I will mumble what syllables feel good to me over that. For this, it was like, but then I figured out what words worked well with it. So it was touch my body tender. And I didn't have any idea what the song was going to be about, because the feeling makes me weak. Okay, kicking off the covers, I see the ceiling while you're looking down at me. When I wrote that verse, I was like, okay, this feels like it was about someone who is no longer mine. What the instrumental felt like was the feeling of that intimacy, and that's kind of what the first verse is about. And then I wanted the chorus to be about, you know, it's no longer here. Like kind of asking the question of how are we acting like this never happened. My favorite part of this is hands down the background vocals I did. It's like church.
Side while you let go, this is casual.
Oh, I want to talk about this lift from the bridge into the last chorus. Let's solo these. This is where we kind of built an orchestra between my vocals and a bunch of mellotrons, Udo, bass six, like more live piano. The fact that none of that is a real orchestra is insane. This was done with Benny Bach, who does a lot of synths and keyboards on my stuff, and it makes a crazy mesh. It's so cool. I just loved the vibe that I created, so I was like, I want to just keep the vibe going and slowly fade it out. I feel like there's not enough fade outs in music now, and I want to bring back fade outs. I just want to give the listener a second to think about what they just heard as it slowly fades out, like the end of a movie. I love the details in this part. My favorite is what's happening in the keys during the fade out, which it's like Twin Peaks. It's just so good. So I slept through the Grammy nomination live stream. So I woke up and everyone was just like texting me like, congrats on the nomination. Like I knew that whatever, I was in the running for Best New Artist, but like I still like in my mind couldn't believe that it could possibly in any world be me. When I wrote this song, which is one of the songs that got me there, I was not selling it. I was playing 200 cap clubs that weren't selling out. Like, am I even expecting that to happen? But it happened, and I'm so grateful, and I still can't believe it. And the biggest honor is like just being put in the same category as the artists that I'm being put in a category with. I admire them so much. You know, also all the other, like just being Grammy nominated, thinking of artists that have been Grammy nominated, I'm not worthy, but thank you.